Hello, guys. This is Jay speaking. Welcome back to the Cabral and Salisbury show. Man, it's been a while. Well, you know what? It's a new year. New beginnings, right? Well, Sean and I have many topics to cover in this episode, but first, I'll let you hear from Sean himself.
Hey there, everyone. Start off today's long-awaited show. I'm going to talk about the Xbox Series X and PS5 scalpers. Tech giants Sony and Microsoft fear that they might lose a lot of future console profits to scalpers who buy multiple consoles with the use of bots or other means and sell it for twice the original price. This is problematic because not everyone has $1,000+ to spend on a new console, and the reason why people buy these consoles in the first place is somewhat affordable compared to a high-end PC. And some people actually, work very hard and save up to buy it at the original price in the first place. And I don't really think it's fair for them to buy it at a gouged amount just because people want to make a quick buck. This is especially true because we're in a global pandemic. And Microsoft, Sony, and retailers should really put an end to these bots. And they really need to find ways to end practices such as this, because this could really cost these companies some big sales numbers.
Absolutely. You see, the problem is because of these scalpers, hardly anybody is buying the new consoles, and because of that, hardly anyone is buying the games. With Microsoft and Sony, what they do is they make these consoles and then sell them at cost or less and plan to make their money back on the sales and games. With little sales and games for the new consoles, I heard Microsoft and Sony are planning to restructure plans for future operations. In other words, how many consoles they'll make, how much they'll cost, and if Microsoft and Sony will need to make cuts.
I'd have to agree. Surely these tech giants are quickly coming up with plans to counteract these scalpers and are looking to get their sales and marketing back on track. Now, if you are fortunate enough to own a new console, you know that performance is phenomenal, and although the game lineup seems a little bit slim, everything else about these consoles seems to be really good. But of course, that's not always the case for some games. Some games are just bugged, and the infamous EA is part of the issue once again. Jay, you have something to share about Madden 21?
Yes, I do. There have been reports of another bug or issue, if you will call it, with Madden 21. After an update in recent months, gamers are now unable to use their last name when creating a character or player due to the game detecting their last name as being profane and therefore cannot use it. In some cases, gamers are also unable to use their first names. Now, you'd think that EA would be trying to fix this issue? Well, you'd be wrong. In fact, in one case, an EA community manager responded to a gamer by saying, regardless of whether or not your real name may be considered profanity or contain a profane word, if it is being detected as such, you will need to choose another name. Okay, so my question is, how can you tell someone not to use their birth given name? That to me is just unacceptable and just goes to show that EA clearly does not care about its consumers as much as they should.
Well, let me start off there by saying that was a great community manager impression. But yeah, EA is known for displeasing their fans, and this is no news to me, of course, being a gamer. Fans of EA games know that they care really only for the cash that they'll be raking in instead of the consumer experience. However, for them to react like this to a bug inside their own video game is completely unacceptable. Instead of fixing the damn bug, they tell their player base to just choose different names, even though it's still broken. Just fix the issue. Do your player base a favor and start caring about your product.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. It is unacceptable to tell your fans use a different name. Now, I'm a Madden player, so I too have had this problem and been affected by this. And when I reported the issue, there's a text box to answer this question. The question reads, "What what can we do to fix this problem?" I suggested that they should look for errors in the code or do anything they need to uh, not anything they need to, not for my enjoyment of the game, but for everyone who plays the game for their enjoyment.
In other news, Jay, I'm not sure if you heard the news about the highly anticipated game Cyberpunk 2077, But there is a lot of differing opinions on it. Have you heard any of these?
Yeah, I have. I had heard it came out with a lot of bugs.
You'd be correct. After roughly 9 years, not just one, not just two, 9 years in development, this game still released busted, with many wanting refunds, and they're justified in doing so. The game was such a disappointment that it was even taken down from the PlayStation Store. Despite all these bugs and the terrible launch, Cyberpunk still sold 13 million copies. Personally, if I waited for a game that long, I'd be just as pissed as everyone else, and heck yeah, I would want a refund. If it wasn't ready for the public, it should have been delayed.
Once again, I agree with you there. This is kind of like the EA story. I mean, you could imagine that Cyberpunk knows that their gamers have been waiting 9 years, like you said, for this game, hyping it up all this time. It's mind-boggling to me that Cyberpunk would release this game knowing about all the bugs. If gamers truly have been waiting this long and have shown this much loyalty and devotion, I think they would be understanding if Cyberpunk released a statement saying, "Hey, the release of 2077 would be delayed due to some bugs that needed to be fixed."
For sure. Obviously, Cyberpunk was probably rushed for one thing, and obviously, we all know what that is. The green, the money. Speaking of which, you have a story involving some NFL drama around Alvin Kamara and fines, right? Kamara, right? I said that right.
Yep, you said that right.
Kamara.
And indeed,
All right.
the NFL has fined New Orleans Saints running back Alvin Kamara $5,000 for wearing red and green cleats on Christmas Day in their matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. Kamara tied an NFL record 6 rushing touchdowns that game to help his team defeat the Vikings 52-33. Now, after hearing about the fine, Kamara stated, "If they fine me, I'll just match it. I'll just match it and send it to charity. The Grinch always tries to steal Christmas." Now, frankly, I don't see anything wrong with wearing red and green cleats to honor a holiday, even if it said, even if said holiday is religious. But the NFL is a no-fun league, whether we agree with it or not. But I am glad to see Kamara turn it into a positive thing by matching the $5,000 and donating it to charity. Sean, your thoughts?
Well, I do like the fact that he's matching that and giving it to a charity, because, there are some people who need that money, and the NFL is charging this guy for something relatively not really harmful. I don't really agree with the NFL's decision here to fine Kamara because it's only the color red and green. Because if they punish a big player like this for this reason, what could this mean for the future? Could students be banned for wearing Christmas clothing? Or wearing their favorite color t-shirt, or not really favorite color t-shirt, but a color dedicated to an idea, if you understand what I'm trying to say? Would actors lose contracts just for saying Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays? We have to watch very closely to see how this goes in the future.
Yes. Now, I don't think it'll go that far. At least I hope not. But I agree with you on the NFL's decision to fine Kamara. It's not as if the cleats had Santa or Rudolph or the words "Merry Christmas" on them, and even then, like, I don't believe that the NFL should fine a player for wearing cleats that represent what they believe in. The NFL's teams and organizations have been so understanding and open to their coaches and players' beliefs. Why can't the individuals who run the NFL do the same? But you know what? I don't have a say in it. Sean doesn't have a say in it, so unfortunately we'll just have to see where it goes from here. Continuing right along, Sean, do you want to start us off with our main stories today?
Of course. Now, there's a big TV show that's everyone's been into, at least almost everyone that I know. That is Mandalorian. You've watched all of it. My dad's watched all of it. I've watched all over it, or I've watched it. My mom's even watched almost all of it. And gosh, Baby Yoda's so cute, man. Don't you agree?
Yes, little Grogu. I love the little guy.
Little Grogu, man. Now, season 1 was actually pretty good. I like the story progression between each episode. I mean, there are some side quests. Obviously, that's what makes a story good. You have to put some filler in between, obviously, right?
Absolutely.
And I thought season 1 was relatively amazing, and season 2 just continued that.
Agreed. I mean, it's just if I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. Thank God. Thank God for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, especially Jon Favreau. I mean, I've loved everything that he's worked on, everything that he's done, but man, he really, nailed hit. What's the saying? Hit the nail
Hit
on
the
the
nail
head.
on the head.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's he's done that. All right, The Mandalorian, like you said, amazing show. I mean, like I've watched it over and over because I just can't get enough of it. And I even got my parents into it and some other relatives, but everyone I know says the same thing. Mandalorian's great, Grogu's cute, and the story is just unbelievable and where they go with it.
Right. And I agree. And this is what Star Wars fans have been craving. And bringing in new Star Wars fans, it's even better, you know? Especially for those who aren't really into the films or haven't really. The only character they know is Darth Vader. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah,
And this series did a great job of bringing new ones in and bringing the old ones back, especially after the sequel trilogy, which I wasn't particularly a fan of. And we can all have our own opinions on those three movies. That's fine. But there's no way, at least in my opinion, they can treat one of my favorite characters, Luke Skywalker, they did in Last Jedi, but that's a topic beaten down. But the way, spoilers, if anyone hasn't watched the finale, by the way, when I saw Luke Skywalker at the end of that episode, oh my gosh, I was like screaming in joy, man. That was fantastic. That was intense.
yeah. I
What'd
mean,
you think of that final episode?
phenomenal. If I had to sum it up in one word, phenomenal. And I was with you right there when you were talking about your reaction to seeing Luke Skywalker again. Man, oh my! I think I actually jumped out of my seat, like literally. I mean, that moment was so amazing, and it was so great to see the character come back. And I agree with you. Going back to the last trilogy, now I think they were good movies. I don't think they were good Star Wars movies. I don't.
Correct.
And like what you said, what they did with Luke, I thought that was awful. How they did him like that, and then going even further back to when you said that Favreau and Filoni found a way to bring new fans into it and bring back the old ones. I once again hitting the nail on the head. Just it's amazing to me. Like it's like I don't understand like why. I mean I don't know if you know this, but so Favreau and Filoni have actually been working with George Lucas, or at least with his books,
Hmm.
after talking with George Lucas. And I mean, the
Right.
product that we're getting from it, like, I don't understand why Disney originally decided not to go with George Lucas when making episodes 7, 8, and 9. I mean,
Well, see,
go ahead.
well, I'm sorry
Oh,
to
go ahead. Go ahead.
interject,
Go ahead.
but the reason I see them changing the vision and not following Lucas's books is one, how people react to the prequels. Even though I personally love the prequels, there are some cringy moments. Yes, the dialogue can be bad. Yes, but they were good overall movies. They
Hmm.
built on the story. The sequels did not. There was a Mary Sue, aka Ray. They didn't really build her up until the last movie, and maybe the first movie. They completely skipped the middle one, basically. Just made her all powerful. And you can't really attribute that to Luke or Anakin, because Anakin was at least trained. Rey was trained for like an hour, and she became a Jedi Master. Obviously, in the third movie, they showed a little bit more of that, but that's fine. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here with Star Wars in the past. Kathleen Kennedy just mainly wanted to put her own little agenda into it, and you can see other channels discuss that. We're not going to go into the political side of that. But yeah, obviously Kathleen Kennedy wants to put her own vision in there instead of the George Lucas vision, which I think would have done better. Yeah, it may have had cringy dialogue, but you can work with that. You can always talk to the man, come up with ideas. You know, that's how filmmaking works. How
Absolutely.
creating a product
It's
works.
not just one
Because
person.
you and I are not gonna make a movie, and I'm gonna make all the decisions. Because then it's gonna end up as a crappy movie that's just my fan fiction.
Right? You need
No, you have to work with other people.
Yes, you need teamwork, which is exactly what Favreau, Filoni, and Lucas are doing. But
Right.
I don't know if you've heard this, but rumor has it, according from George Lucas himself, that if he had control, or at least some say in episodes 7, 8, and 9, that Darth Maul would have returned along with Darth Talon to be the main villains. Now, do you
Oof.
think that would have been better than what we got?
Yeah, hell yeah. Honestly, I think Maul coming back and not being the old man he was in Rebels, he would have made a fantastic, like, I guess he would have been like the higher up, like the Palpatine of that series, I would imagine.
Right.
And I think that would have been fantastic because we would see this character built up from Phantom Menace all the way to Clone Wars, and we see this massive figure that everyone's like, or I should I say, iconic figure in Star Wars, and say what? And I think it would surprise a lot of fans. I would rather see Maul and Talon over Snoke, who was there for 2 movies and died in the second one, and they just brought Palpatine back because they didn't have an idea.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like, who was Snoke? Like, he was just a nobody. Like, there's no
He was a clone.
right, a clone. But like, that was your plan. That was your plan.
Like honestly, they could have kept Rey. They could have kept Kylo. They could have kept that romance, whatever they were planning.
Yeah, that was,
On-
yeah.
they could have kept that, but had Maul at the head there, and had instead of Rey just beating him, because we've seen Maul contend with Ahsoka. We've seen him contend with Qui-Gon and kill him.
Right.
And the only reason he lost to Obi-Wan is because he was arrogant and cocky, and he just sat there and let himself get sliced in half.
Right. Right. I just they could have done that trilogy so much better, you know. And I agree with you. I don't like how Rey just instantaneously almost became a Jedi Master. There should have been a build up. There should have been a struggle in fighting Kylo Ren.
Hmm.
There, like that going back to 7, like that was like with no training at all. She basically just like kicked Kylo's ass. Really.
And I see arguments. Well, he was shot by Chewie's bowcaster. Well, that okay, that's fair. But if he's strong in the Force, and what we've seen in Rise of Skywalker with Force healing, why didn't he just heal himself?
Right? Like you would think that would have been a thing by then.
Does he need another being? Just take the Force essence out of Rey. She has no idea how to use the Force.
Right. Right.
Just, just
I think
what
that
did
whole,
he? Didn't he freeze her in one of the earlier scenes? Just freeze her there and take her essence and heal yourself.
yeah, exactly. Like, come on.
I don't understand that. But unfortunately, though, I've heard news that The Mandalorian actually got delayed to 2022, and I was extremely sad by that.
Yeah,
Because I was looking forward to seeing season 3.
I was too. Oh my God. I mean, I was sad enough when I heard, oh yeah, we have to wait a year till Christmas Day. I'm like, why? Why? Why that long? And now
Right.
it's being delayed. Now it's being delayed to 2022. We don't have an exact date. And I actually looked up why. Like, I was like, oh, there's got to be an answer somewhere, and there isn't. There isn't. Now, there are rumors and theories. One of those theories suggests that Disney is merely doing this to give themselves time to release other series and therefore draw subscribers to not leave and then come back for another free trial for Mandalorian and then leave again. They just want to keep subscribers on and paying for their content as long as possible.
Right.
Right. So I think the next series that'll come out, I believe it's Boba Fett season 1.
The Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, the Book of Boba Fett. And then I know they're planning on so many other series. They're doing. I think Ahsoka's already been started filming, and a couple others.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think so. And I hope the content's worth, keeping the subscription for
Yeah.
Disney Plus. But other than that, in the Star Wars world, I mean, there's really nothing else to be hyped for. There's the original movies are fantastic. The prequels, Revenge of the Sith was fantastic, and at least in my eyes. Attack of the Clones could have been better. Phantom Menace had Darth Maul. That's about it. Again, Attack of the Clones was alright. It had Dooku wasn't really a compelling villain at all. But the arena battle was pretty fun. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I mean, at least Dooku got his time in the Clone Wars animated series.
Right, and it made him cooler.
Yeah.
And Maul got a build up in there too, but then they've ruined him in Rebels. And he was alright in Rebels, but I don't really care for Rebels.
Rebels was awful. Although I liked that was the one with Ahsoka and Darth Vader, right? Their battle.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought that was cool, but that's about it.
right.
That was about it.
I didn't watch it, so maybe there could have been other cool stuff in there, but I did get surprised when they mentioned Grand Admiral Thrawn, because Thrawn was actually one of the good characters in the Rebels, and I'm excited to see where he's gonna end up. Probably in the Ahsoka series.
Let's hope. That I can't wait
Thrawn
for
was a
that. I
good
can't wait
character.
for Ahsoka. I mean, I honestly, I
Like,
can't wait for like almost anything that Disney Plus will be releasing Star Wars related.
right. And see, the difference between Ahsoka and Rey, Ahsoka's a good character.
Yeah, a very good character.
She's a fan favorite character. Rey is not, at least not for most people, maybe for some people. And if it is, I apologize if it's your favorite character, but it isn't ours. I would rather have Ahsoka over Rey any day.
Same here.
But in other news, we have WWE. This is completely off topic from Star Wars. And we've seen this with like a similar type of fashion to finding Kamara, like going after celebrities, or I guess, big talent, I guess. We see WWE and what they're doing with social media into their stars.
Oh, now yes, yeah. So WWE, what they do with their talent, as they call them, or superstars, is they make them agree to basically, I don't want to put this, basically censoring their social media accounts. Now, you would think that would just mean, okay, yeah, they're WWE social media accounts. No, it means they're personal as well. Now, most superstars agree to this because, I mean, it's WWE. How much bigger are you going to get from there as a professional wrestler? As poorly as WWE runs their company, but that's another topic. But yeah, so some superstars do not agree with this. One in particular was Selena Vega, who was released from WWE back in November because she did not agree with their policies and would not abide by them. Now, there was speculation that her husband, Aleister Black, also a WWE superstar, would also be released. However, there's just been word that Aleister Black will not be released from WWE. The details on the conversation between him, Triple H, McMahon, and the rest of WWE has not been released. However, we do know that Black will be returning. I believe they said to SmackDown, but his future is unclear on what they plan to do with him. So,
And the thing is I don't see why they're doing it to their stars. That's especially to their personal accounts. I get they work for your brand, but see, when they're off work, they're not yours anymore.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so, because say I'm working because I used to work at a plumbing store. What if I got fired because I don't know, for example, going back to Star Wars, I like Star Wars Force Awakens and they didn't, for opinions, right?
Right.
And I got fired because of that. That would be insane.
It would be. Yeah, no, that's just unacceptable. Like, I mean, I understand that WWE is trying to protect their image, but honestly, they don't have a good image as it is, given
Right.
given how they treat their talent, like just on camera, like and just. I can get so much into that, but it just like you said, after work, they go home. They're normal people. I think WWE forgets that. Drew McIntyre and Ricochet and Randy Orton, they all have lives outside of WWE. Okay, and they like to talk about that and they like to post it and share it on social media because they like being involved with the fans as a normal person, somebody that they can relate to. And that's what it's all about. And I know watching Broken Skull sessions, Stone Cold and Drew McIntyre, they agree with that. It's about reaching out to the fans, but not just as this
Right.
larger than life character, as somebody who they can relate to, who they can respond to, and grow
Right.
that connection with.
And it's funny that you mentioned Drew, because Drew is, really quickly becoming one of my favorite superstars, after The Undertaker, because who doesn't like Undertaker?
Of course.
But recently, and I'll get back to that other bit in a second, we're censoring and wasting their superstars. Because we all know WWE loves to waste their talent and promotes people that shouldn't really be promoted. Like a certain Oldberg.
Oh God.
They're bringing back Goldberg, and let's just say he came unprepared and he just blew Drew's character off the map. He mentioned like a different Drew McIntyre than what I know. That's for sure.
Exactly. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but so I actually sat down and watching Raw live when this happened. And I just couldn't believe the words that were coming out of Goldberg's mouth. I mean, we all know Drew over the last year. He's all about respect and honor, especially to the legends, which is why that's what started his feud with Orton, because Orton was punting all these legends in the head, and Drew was like, "What are you doing? Stop!" You know, and it's just, and for Goldberg to say that Drew has no respect for the legends, it's absurd. But it's Goldberg, so people listen, and now Drew's character basically, I don't want to say has been, like you said, thrown off the map, but now like that whole thing is just like, well, where do you go from here? Because you got two sides saying different things.
Right.
But later I found out that Goldberg, being Goldberg, thinking he's on top of the world and can do what he wants, showed up to Raw late. So late that Drew, in between time to get ready for his match that night and the time that Goldberg actually arrived, didn't have time to sit down with Goldberg and talk about what they were going to say. And so Goldberg basically just went out there and was just like, hey, I'm going to wing it, and then in the process screwed McIntyre's character.
Right. Like, even if you don't know what's going on, you should probably talk to the guy you're going to have a promo with beforehand. Even if it's, like, by a call or something, because I'm sure they're linked in some way. Even on social media, they can just text each other. I'm sure.
Right, and watching Raw, I mean, when Goldberg said that, you could see that Drew went with it. Like, I mean, you could just see it on Drew's face. Like, he was like, what the hell are you talking about? He even said, he's like, that's not what I said. That's not what I've been saying. Clearly you haven't been listening to me. But you kind of see it, like kind of like the gears turning in like that moment when it all clicks, and Drew just kind of went like a loose cannon, basically. And was like, you know what, though? I don't respect you. And he said that to Goldberg, and then the two of them fought and, you know, headbutted each other and shoved each other. And that wasn't actually supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why it did is because Drew was so pissed off at Goldberg, he couldn't help himself. And I don't blame Drew. Drew has worked so hard over the last, decade or more, to prove that he deserves to be there, to prove that he deserves to be the top guy. Was fired back in 2014, worked his way back to the company, worked his way up to the top, and now you have Goldberg just shitting on all of that.
Right.
It's unacceptable.
And I don't think it's fair for Drew, because Drew has actually earned his way up to his position. I understand Goldberg had a humongous streak back in the day, but everyone knows WWE is fake, or WWF, whatever it was called back then. And he was just giving that streak to him. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. I mean, I think for the first half of that streak, he was just facing, like, nobodies and jobbers.
Right? And that's what WWE is full of these days, is jobbers and people who just get there to get a paycheck. You know?
Right.
And Goldberg, I don't know why they keep bringing him back. I would much rather see a Drew McIntyre versus a Triple H instead of what they're doing with Randy versus Triple H again. I would rather see him versus Triple H, or I know Undertaker's retired, but let's say they say he's retired every year, and he comes back anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, supposedly Undertaker is actually officially retired this year. Although I would have liked to see, him and Drew, you know, at WrestleMania. And that, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but way back, I think it was WrestleMania 26, they were supposed to face each other, but it ended up being the Shawn Michaels retirement match because Drew just wasn't ready for it. But I would have liked to see one more match with Taker, and I would have liked to see Drew be that one more match.
I would have liked to see, instead of if it wasn't Taker, any other legend, Big Show, Mark Henry,
big guy basically, yeah.
Shawn Michaels, any other.
Shawn Michaels. Oh my God.
I would have loved to see him go
really
against AJ Styles.
Oh, AJ. Oh God, yes. I mean, honestly, I think if Shawn Michaels really wanted to, he could step in the ring, but he's said it countless times. He's done with that. But I mean, him and Styles, that would, oh my God, dream
Honestly,
match heaven.
a big guy versus a big guy. I think Big Show would have filled that role if they pushed the Big Show a little bit more.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I kind of like what they're doing with Orton now. Mm-hmm. I do. I mean, he's worked his way back.
He's back into that legend killer.
Legend killer, that top villain. I like it. He's reached a new level in his career, and I can't wait to see where that goes. But going back
Me
to
too.
Goldberg though, I mean, WWE has had a problem with him every single time they've brought him back, but yet they still bring him back because they know they'll get money for it. It's awful.
Honestly, I think it would have been better if they brought back Brock Lesnar and have Drew destroy him again. That would have been better than Goldberg coming back.
Right? Shit.
Because Goldberg's just gonna, I bet this is gonna happen. Goldberg's gonna spear him. He's gonna spear him. He's gonna jackhammer him. Drew's gonna claymore him, pin him, win. That's I was gonna win.
Now I
It's
don't.
gonna be a finisher match.
I agree it's going to be a finisher match. I don't think that either one of them will walk out with the title.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know where I'm going with this. Money in the
I've
Bank.
heard that
Money
the
in the
Miz
Bank.
is gonna cash
Yeah,
in.
right. I think Miz is going to cash in with the Money in the Bank because rumor has it that the Miz last year said to WWE, "Listen, if I don't get another like major pay-per-view main event like WrestleMania, and if I'm not the world champion within a year, I'm walking." And
Right.
WWE values the Miz because Miz also has a lot of TV pull.
Hmm.
You know, especially with the USA Network and everything else that the WWE's got going on. I mean, that's I know the Miz always jokes about him being an A-lister and Hollywood loves him and stuff, but it's true. Hollywood does love him, and he does have a lot of
Right.
pull and a lot of say. And so WWE gave in, they bought in, and that's why they had him beat Otis for the Money in the Bank and basically just destroyed the Otis story, which I wish they hadn't. I mean, there was rumors that he was going to be the next American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. I would have loved to see that, but anyways, but yeah, Miz. Like I said, I think he's going to cash in. I mean, with Money in the Bank only a few months away, he's kind of got to. Like, he's running out of time here. So I think he cashes in,
Right.
and possibly we'll see Drew McIntyre and Miz at WrestleMania.
That would be a better match
Yeah.
than what we're seeing.
Yeah. So,
It's literally just gonna be Claymore versus Spear. That's literally the match.
pretty much. But,
And then Miz is coming in. And Miz used to be a very fantastic character, but we haven't seen much of him
right.
other than a rare Miz TV. And what happened to the Fiend? I don't know if you know anything about the Fiend, but what happened to the Fiend?
Well, I don't know if Bray requested time off. I know Bliss did, so maybe both of them are taking time off at the same time. Or will be soon, because I don't know if Bliss is still on Raw. I haven't watched the last couple episodes. Well, I've seen highlights, but that's about it. But yeah, I heard Bray and the Fiend will be coming back bigger and badder than ever, and I can't wait to see that. I actually like the Fiend and the whole Bliss thing. I love it. It's like a whole Joker and Harley
Right,
Quinn
it's
thing.
like, yeah, right. I was just about to say that Joker and Harley Quinn. That's a good aspect of that. And, the Fiend's probably the best thing in the company next to Drew McIntyre, so I hope he comes back soon.
Yeah.
Because Vince is wasting all the other talent.
Pretty much. I mean, he's wasting Aleister Black. He's wasting Ricochet. Dolph Ziggler was supposed to be one of the top guys a few years ago.
Right.
Actually right towards the end of the Authority era.
Hmm.
Ziggler was supposed to be a big character, kind of like a Shawn Michaels like character, and it was just that we saw what happened there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think anywhere else, those guys I just named. Oh, and Kevin Owens, I don't want to forget about him. Anywhere else, those guys would be main eventers, top guys. But because it's WWE, and that they don't fit WWE's, I don't know, idea of a top guy, they just get pushed to these mid-carders. I mean, I know Owens just had a push against Reigns, but I mean,
It's Reigns.
it's Reigns, so he wasn't gonna beat Reigns. I mean, that's one of Vince's main guys right there. But I
Thing
mean,
is, though, Reigns has a big turn. I like the way it's kind of going. I mean, I don't really like the aspect of it's my family, it's my yard.
the only good...
I like the way...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
All right. I like the way Paul Heyman's kind of pushing him like a Brock Lesnar type.
Right.
That's the good part. It's Paul Heyman, not Roman Reigns.
That's
It's Paul Heyman.
And that's the thing. As long as Paul Heyman is next to Reigns, Paul Heyman will have a say in the story. So I will say, it's not a terrible story. I'm just hoping that WWE doesn't find a way to screw this over, and I don't think Heyman will allow WWE to screw this over. I really don't. I love Heyman. Anything that he's had a say in was actually at least good in the company.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we have seen talent such as John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, a once fan favorite, move. And who else is gonna move? Chris Jericho.
Look at him. Chris Jericho doesn't give you, like, I don't know if you know his contract with AEW, but he doesn't give another brand 3 years unless he believes in them. You
Right.
know, like he believed in
And
AEW. Look what AEW is now. I mean, they're the second largest
hmm
wrestling brand in the world, pretty much, and it's only been like what, a year and a half, 2 years.
right.
And what are they doing? They've been stealing away WWE's talent. They they just signed a deal. I don't know if you know this. They just signed a deal to start working with TNA. And if you know
Wow.
anything about TNA, you know that they get their talent from all over the world because TNA is linked with Global Force in England, JPW in Japan, AAA Wrestling in Mexico, just
Right.
and so many other brands all over the world. So now, now you're going to be seeing talent from all over the world onto AEW and AEW talent all over the world as well, and it's just going to be this big cluster of just, oh my God, what is happening? And I honestly think they're going to lead to a war. I've heard TNA superstars invading AEW. I've heard AEW's invaded TNA. That's all pretty exciting. It just AEW I think is doing it right. I mean, especially with the like how they use their talent, they let their talent develop, like be their own characters and develop their way. And I love how, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of old school like WCW, like before the war with WWE. Like back when it was, you had your heavyweights, you had your um uh God, Hulk Hogan's, your Stings. I
Right.
didn't want to name this guy, but Goldberg. I mean, Goldberg then was pretty good, not now. um, you had your Booker T, you had your Scott Steiner, the Steiner brothers, you had Diamond Dallas Page, although Diamond Dallas Page is more of like a mid-Carter, but I mean, he was still great, fan favorite. And then, oh my God, you can't forget the Cruiserweight division. You had a young Chris
Right.
Jericho, a young Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, Juventud Guerrera, Eddie Guerrero. I mean, the list goes on and on, you know? And,
Right.
and like, I feel like that is the style of WCW now. You have those top guys, those old school guys, and then you have the new younger group that are just doing all high flying and spins and a whole bunch of crap that I've never seen before, and I love it. I
Right.
just love it. That's all I know.
Honestly, I love it too. I love the aspect of wrestling. I mean, yeah, it's fake, but at least it's entertaining. It's better than just finishers and people picking each other up and throwing each other or doing simple punches.
Right.
I like to see those spins, those jumps, those super kicks, those RKO's out of nowhere, I guess, right?
Yeah.
It's those moments that get you into that sort of thing.
Right. Uh,
And unfortunately, not all that talent is realized by WWE. And I'm not sure you know this, but you remember some of the old talent they used to, not push, such as the Bludgeon Brothers. Remember Eric Rowan and God rest his soul, John Huber or John Huber?
yeah. 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 It's unfortunate what happened to John Huber. You know, for those of you who don't know, he passed away December 26th last year, and I mean it was just sad day for everybody. Even WWE and AEW. I mean, he was there in AEW for a while. I mean, they were very saddened by the news. All the
hmm
superstars took to social media, especially Edge. I don't have the post in front of me, but I know Edge had a lot to say about him. So if you guys are on Instagram, follow Edge, and I'm sure you'll be able to find the post. I mean, it was heartfelt, and I mean, I even teared up at it. But yeah, it was a very sad loss, and it shook the wrestling world. It really did.
Right.
I know Raw and SmackDown had their tributes, and AEW had a tribute show to him. He's only 41. I mean, that's God. 41,
Right.
died of a lung issue that he's been battling for years now, and it's sad. I mean, just 2020 took so many people away from us, and so many young people. You know,
And the thing is, 2020 just wanted its final blow before the new
right? Yeah,
year.
just days before the new year, one day after Christmas. I mean, come on.
Honestly, condolences to his family and friends, man. From what it seems, he was very inspirational to those people. Even though his character of Luke Harper, and I'm not sure what he was in AEW, he didn't really talk much, but he had some good storylines. The Wyatt family, The feud with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. I mean, those are some decent stories.
Yeah.
You can't forget, and he was pretty talented, not
Oh
gonna
God,
lie.
yeah. I mean, and I remember when WWE started pushing him and like they started giving him those promos, and I was just blown away. Because even though he didn't talk much, when he did talk, it was just mind blowing, and it just took me back listening to the words he would say, and he was one of those guys that truly was a fan of the brand and what they were doing, and just a true fan of pro wrestling. And I think those are always the best kind of performers and athletes in the business, is those guys who were fans themselves.
Right.
Not one person had anything bad to say about him. And you could just see that with all, like I said, with all the social media posts from the superstars, from the tribute episodes, from just everything that they did in his honor. I mean, it was sad to see
Right.
him go. But yes,
And
condolences to his family and
rest
friends.
in peace, Luke Harper. And the Wyatt family will always remember you, right? Like
Absolutely.
he's always in the family. And just like Chad and other lives we lost like last year,
Too many to count.
may they rest. Too
Yes.
many. But I think we are running out of time here. So, do you have anything else to add?
I don't. Do you?
I think that is all actually for our stories. But before we go, let me just say to everyone that Clueless J is still on the map, believe it or not. We will be returning soon with some new content, and within the next couple months, we will have some more. Not only Clueless J, but Jay himself is going to start his own sports series called Jay Sports Review. And thank you for coming to listen to this installment of the Cabral Salisbury Show. We thank you for coming back after the long wait, and we welcome any new viewers. Remember to hit that red subscribe button. You will need a YouTube account, remember, to subscribe. And thank you for coming by, and we hope you'll be back for the next one. Take care.